just want to make a quick video going over the system. First thing you're going to see is the main power disconnect. 200 amp power supply can be run to AC power or to a generator. We also have our mobile propane hookup out here. You can run propane or natural gas. You can hook up to a landline or run it like this. Here we have the disconnectable cooling tower pump. This is 88 gallons a minute. That's a 40-ton chiller. It's been upgraded to be more mobile. It's been put onto a frame with rollers. The fan and motor have been upgraded to something a little more reliable than what comes with these. A little more power, a little more CFM out of the fan, and incorporated some supports to go with that upgrade. This is where we connect the cooling tower. Everything is quick connect cam locks. Makes it really easy to disconnect and connect on site. Right here is air compressor in. Compressor, you could run electric twin scroll, or we like diesel twin scroll. It gets the job done. It's mobile, and you never have a problem with CFM. Running from the hot air into the first air dryer, it rapidly cools it, gets most of the moisture out right there. Also pulls oil. Right here is a connection for the solenoid that controls liquid nitrogen. If you run a liquid nitrogen cooling setup, or you can plumb in any chiller, cryo chiller. These lines can take liquid nitrogen or glycol or any antifreeze fluid to run through the heat exchanger. This platform is a two-piece quick disconnect, all aluminum, easy to transport with the system. Now I'll walk you through a typical run. It's a really versatile setup to where you can change procedures however you want to run them. A typical run would look something like bringing in your biomass bulk container out here. We would set a scale down and weigh out how much we want to run per batch. Bring the winch out. Lower, pick up the basket. Pull the basket back up. Open the batching tank. As you see right now, the last batch we ran is still in there. Pull the winch over, drop it, lower the basket into the tub. There's many ways about going about it. You can have if you're running a smaller batch, you can run just the tank full of ethanol solvent, whatever you're going to run, and chill it down, wait till it's at temperature, then drop the basket in, or you can cool the ethanol ahead of time in the ethanol storage tank and then run it through multiple passes. So after your batch is full and you're ready to start a batch, you come over to the HMI and you can go into main mode. You can have it in manual mode where you're going through testing out different operations, or in our set parameters, which you can adjust. Go into auto mode, come back to the main menu. And the batch, see right now it's set for 0 minutes. We can set the batch timer for 1 minute. Got 1 minute batch timer, come back out, and we would hit start batch. There it would drain out, which is over here. Comes out the bottom of the tank, goes over into these double diaphragm air pumps. Comes out. First stage of filtration is just a strainer with a 44 micron mesh. Drops out of there, and we have 2 of these, so you can pull it out and change between. Makes it easy to keep running that way. Runs into our first 3 40-inch tall cartridge filters. We've been running 5 micron. We run 1 micron. You can run 15 micron. Then it goes into your 2 lenticulars, where you can run an activated carbon and then follow it up with a diatomaceous earth. And then from there, runs around back over and fills up the tincture tank. This tincture tank is double wall jacketed. The jacket is hot water, so it'll take the cold tincture, start to heat it up, get it up to a set temperature that is in the parameters. We have it set at 60, and when 60 degrees is read at the temperature sensor, it will start the program for automatically pulsing through the FFE manifold. So at that point, it'll come through. This pump will start pumping through this header manifold up here. Each one of these FFEs will pulse on for a set time, close, and it moves on to the next one. In between, you can set the dwell timing. What this does, what we found, is running just one FFE or just one chamber or running non-stop, it's really hard to keep up with vacuum. So this way, you're able to shut down a chamber that still has vacuum pulling on it while still running evaporation through another heat exchanger and then another and another. By the time it gets back to the first one, you're back down to your original vacuum. And this keeps you at a high vacuum rate, which allows you to run lower temperatures and still get plenty of evaporation out of the setup. You can change the dwell time, you can change the pulse time, you can run multiple at a time if you want to run all four. For our current setup at just 26 as a vacuum and about 160 degrees, we're running 2 gallons a minute, and our condensation comes up and runs through this Alfa Laval braze plate. It's rated about a little under 1 million BTU, but just that heat exchanger with the cooling tower outside is enough to run this. It makes it an extremely efficient setup when you don't have a giant chiller running your condensation, when you don't have a boiler system that has to be keeping up with 180, 200 degrees, and the vacuum isn't anything insane, and it works really well. If you want to upgrade your utilities, if you want to go with a bigger chiller, more vacuum, more heat, you can add any utilities into the system and hop it up. It can take it. It's designed and built for whatever you want to throw at it. For our throughput, this efficient setup is all we needed. As you run, this is a vacuum storage tank, which really helps keep a consistent vacuum. We've never had a problem with vacuum fluctuating, and we don't have a giant vacuum pump running behind all this. As this fills, as you're running, you will have ethanol vapor condensing back into ethanol, storing into the storage tank, and this will fill up. You'll be losing your vacuum storage while it fills up. And at that point, when you get to a point that you decide you want to shut off, or the level sensor clicks, it'll shut the program off. This is piped back in. You drop off vacuum, brake vacuum, the pump in the back will pump all the ethanol back over into the ethanol storage, and that is a run. It's a pretty simple system. We've done what we can to make it as simple as possible, the least amount of parts to break. The section over here that when you're going to have cryo temperatures of ethanol running through, we've gone with diaphragm air pumps because you don't have to worry about the electrical dealing with ethanol and the explosion proof. And with the sanitary diaphragms, they actually withstand the temperatures for a long time. But we've gone past our service intervals, and we're just trying to find out how far you can go before you need to replace those.